Yo, man, what's going on, guys? Yo, I'm gonna keep this short because it's Turkey Day. As a fellow Native American, I don't really celebrate it, man. But I'm also not a downer. It's gonna really like bring down the spirit and get all political at the dinner table. It's just not what I do, man. But with that being said, we got a good ass fight in the first quarter of next year in 2025. Now, I'm a fan of David Benavidez. I'm not the biggest fan of David Benavidez because he's flawed. We all know that. And I believe that he's very beatable, right? But one of the things that I like about him is just like any true young, good fighter, they like a challenge and they're willing to challenge themselves. See, Canelo Alvarez, he loved to challenge himself, right? And you still see it to this day. The list of undefeated fighters like Billy Joe Saunders, Caleb Plant, but even guys like Dimitri Bivol moving up and fighting a high risk, low reward type fights. Canelo has always done that predominantly throughout his whole career. At 154, he fought guys like Austin No Doubt Trout, Erislandy Lara. At 160, high risk. It was probably a high reward, right? Triple G. So he continued to always take on these tough fights. Lately, you can say a little bit like, Canelo's ducking and things of that nature. But overall in his career, Canelo has done a great job of always taking these type of fights that David Benavidez, you can say he too has taken, or he's going to start to take, it seems, right? But when you take on these tough fights, you could run not only into a competitive style of fight, but you could lose some stock where a lot of people are, there's some divisiveness, right? Where there's a little like, I don't know, man, that fight was too close. Some people were going to go and think that David Morrel won the decision. Like a lot of people thought Erislandy Lara beat Canelo, so forth and so on, right? Like Sander Martin beat Teofimo Lopez. And the list goes on and on. But what people fail to realize, the hardcores, just like the casuals, is that that's the type of fights that we want to see with these fighters. But because we react the way that we do, there's almost, in terms of building a monetary, lavish career, like a Tank Davis, who's abstained from taking on those high-risk, low-reward type fights, right? It's almost better to move like Tank Davis, get all these knockouts, get a shit ton of money, because, ultimately, that's what you're in the sport of boxing to do, right? Why take on guys like Edwin de los Santos to Shakur Stevenson? Why fight guys like Erislandy Lara to Canelo Alvarez if you're not going to get the most bang for your buck? It just doesn't make sense, right? Look at Tank Davis, for example. He's pretty much beaten, like every single time that he's fought, he's favored to win by knockout. And it comes with stipulations where rehydration clause. He's well-versed. His team knows, right? They've understood, and they've essentially carried over the Mayweather blueprint of how to maneuver your career to remain undefeated, right? To control all of the factors to cater to your side so you can get your best opportunity to win and retire undefeated. But the reason I bring all this up is because you have credible fighters on the pound-for-pound list, that when they talk about skills and they talk about who's on their pound-for-pound list, almost all of them add Gervonta Tank Davis. They respect his skills. Of course you respect his skills because he's not fighting other skillful fighters on the list like you guys are doing. So I don't understand like how they would put him on the pound-for-pound list when he's not even taking no risky-ass fights like you guys are doing. He doesn't unify divisions. He doesn't chase undisputed. He will never fight guys like Jack Catterall, Sander Martin. He refused to fight guys like Josh Taylor, Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, right? Anyway, man. So when I look at what David Benavidez is doing against David Morrel, this guy is essentially, David Morrel he should be, on paper, a novice. He's got 11 pro fucking fights. And I think the kid is only like 24 years old. right? So David Benavidez, having double the experience, almost triple the experience, should win by knockout, right? That's just the way I look at it. When I look at David Benavidez' last fight, to my knowledge, that was the first time that he's ever fought somebody taller than him and bigger and stronger than him. And you saw the size difference in terms of muscle density, in terms of David Benavidez, overcommitting to power punches to really impose his will as the Mexican monster on Alexander Volstik. He was really unable to. But you saw his skills. You saw that he had to go through a different aspect of boxing. He had to rely more on his speed, and he's constantly learning. Well, David Morrel is a second fighter, in my opinion, that's also bigger and possibly stronger than David Benavidez, right? So it's going to be a very interesting fight. And he's also youthful, very young. David overall should win. And he should possibly win by knockout. Because when you look at David Morrell's resume, right, when he in his last fight, he went the distance with, Hot Rod. I'm not going to try to pronounce his name, but I'm going to call him Rad. When he fought Rad, this guy had good movement. He's been in there with, I think, Marcus Brown and also Artur Beterbiev or Better Beef, whatever you guys like to call him. But this is going to be a very interesting fight, and he's only have 10 or 11 fights. So when it comes down to experience, David Benavidez should win. He has a much more diverse resume, and I think David Morrell's best fight is that last one that he had against Hot Rod. Now, there's guys like Yamaguchi, Falcao, and these other dudes that he's knocked out, but those guys are essentially nobodies. David Morrell hasn't fought nobodies, and his record of 10-0 with 9 KOs lets me know that. You having a 90% knockout ratio is equivalent to Tank Davis's 90-something knockout ratio and Deontay Wilder. You guys are knocking out nobody really that good or talented or on the pound-for-pound list. Like, if you were to break down Tank Davis's resume, probably his best fighter, right, is Ryan Garcia. Ryan ain't never been a champion. And he cheats, and he fights in catch weights, just like Tank. You can probably say Pedraza, right? When you look at David Morrell, give me one legitimate name that he's fought. Same thing with Deontay Wilder, right? And that's how you accumulate all of these knockouts, especially almost a 100% knockout ratio. Now, there's a few fighters, possibly like a Virgil Ortiz, like an Artur Beterbiev, that have amazing knockout ratios, and they're actually fighting dudes with a fucking pulse that can fight back, that are also winners, right? That aren't there just for a paycheck, that aren't just going to, like, lay down for you, you know what I mean? Bro, you know what? What if I never clicked the live button? So, yeah, man, this should be a very interesting fight with David Benavidez versus David Morrell. It potentially has the opportunity to see a fighter. Look, PBC, they don't have a lot of momentum right now, right? They might not even have a promoter and telecommunications. They might not have nothing going for them, but they have a select few fighters like David Benavidez that have a lot of momentum, that are very fan-friendly, and that a lot of people like to see and are supportive. That's one thing about the PBC. Yo, what up, Drew? That's one of the things about PBC is that when they back a fighter, these fighters have extreme fan bases. David Benavidez, Tank Davis, Errol Spence, Tim Tszyu. PBC does a great job with, as horrible as they are, to maintain a complete roster active. When it comes down to the fighters they really want to push down and tell us that they're amazing, they do a great job of promoting them. You get what I'm saying? Like Errol Spence, Tim Tszyu, David Benavidez, Gervonta Tank Davis, all of these guys are limited, but yet somehow they have this extreme hardcore fans that are supportive of them no matter essentially what they do. And that's really cool to see that traction that PBC gets. I just don't understand for the love of the sport why they don't maintain activity and keep guys like Keith Thurman extremely active and these other guys that they have on roster. Yo, Drew, 1, 2, 3, brother. My check, real quick.
Mic check, mic check.
Yo, qué huele,
Yo, my
mi
bad,
gente.
dude.
This
Yeah,
is the G. Well, how you been, bro? How's your turkey day, man? How's everything going? And are you excited about David Benavidez versus David Morrell?
bro. I gotta. I'm first of all, bro. I'm in the food coma right now, bro. I'm so full. Like, bro, who am I? No, I'm just kidding. But you know, um, I've been hype about this, man. I think it's a good fight. It's to me. I think we're gonna see Morel actually make a name for himself, win or lose. I think he's gonna give Benavides a tough fight. I think he's gonna make Benavides think more than he usually does. Uh, and I think it's gonna make Benavides dig in his tool bag a little more. Um, and I hear a lot of people saying that he didn't look that great against uh Cal Cala fuck, what's his name? I'm gonna just call him Hot Rod. Um, so Hot Rod, I used to say his name hella good, but I just forgot about it. I just need to hear them pronounce it, but it's pretty easy to say it actually when you hear other people say it. Like, oh, okay, it's pretty easy to say, but yeah, it's nothing too crazy in reality. But yeah, Hot Rod, bro, he's a solid fighter, and he actually moved up right to fight Morel at 175, correct?
No.
No.
Morrell moved up to 175. Hot Rod has always fought there at that weight class.
Oh, so this fight was at 168 then. Okay.
Oh, no, this fight was at 175. Both
Okay,
David Benavidez and David Morrell moved up to 175.
no, I'm saying Morel and Hot Rod fought at 175 though, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, they fought at 175. So um Hot Rod got popped, bro. Hot Rod is not a slouch. Uh Hot Rod, fought the dudes like fucking what's his name? But with the Better Be.
Yeah.
I believe he went 10 rounds or something like that.
Now he eventually got knocked out.
Yeah, but it was like a stoppage though. It wasn't like he just was running for his life type of thing. But um, yeah, no, he's been in the ring, so he knows, you know, how it is. But um, I think Morel, um, I think Benavides will kind of have like the same issue with Hot Rod in reality. So I don't know. I think it's a good fight. I think that Hot Rod fight made people think maybe Morel isn't really that guy. I'm
Yeah.
still thinking he's that guy. It's just he was better off fighting at 168. I'm only saying that because he's just not big enough, I feel like. And his style um it's just if he was it would only suit that style if he was bigger, if it was at 175, but he's a solid fighter. He has his chance, puncher's chance against against Benavides, and
Yeah.
I'm saying a really good puncher's chance. So just
Is
because
is David Morrell better than Demetrius Andre?
no, no, I think Demetrius Andrade is educated and he has IQ, and I
He
really do
was
think
just small.
he was just small. Yeah, and I think Morel is gonna have the same issue, um, but he's not. He's a different style. He's actually willing to exchange with you. So I think Boo Boo was playing it safe, and then he was doing good. He was doing good, and then he was just getting caught too much, and I think you can't even say maybe if he was more in his prime, because he really hasn't really had like a drop off, and he hasn't really been active enough for us to say like what direction he's going, just because of his opposition. But this was really, the toughest fight of his career, obviously. But he I think Boo Boo's still a solid fighter. He's got size. I think he still gives dudes troubles, but I think what's his name? Um you know, he has more mileage on him, so maybe he would have given him a harder time. But Morrel is younger and he has more youth, and with Benavidez' style, he likes to overwhelm guys, right? Um, I thought Andrade was gonna beat Benavidez. Honestly, I was 50-50 about that, just because honestly, I hate me personally. I hate fighters that overwhelm me. I've sparred. I remember sparring this one dude who was my exact same size, and he was like just a workhorse, man. Like there was nothing crazy about him. He just kept 1-2. Coach kept telling him to throw 1-2, and I just couldn't stop it. And I was like, "What the fuck, man? Like this guy's consistent. And I wasn't conditioned enough, right?" And I remember feeling like helpless. And that's what it is with Benavides. He is a workhorse, and he will
But
get
why did you think Andre was gonna beat David? Because you said you were 50-50, and then I'm like, Andre really isn't a workhorse. He could be, but he's
no
really not.
no Benavides is a workhorse.
Right. But why did
Yes,
you think Andre could beat David?
because of his style, and he needed to be more consistent with that same style, but he wasn't because Benavides overwhelmed him, he forced him to dig deeper in his bag, but he couldn't because obviously maybe because of his age. I feel like a prime Boo Boo gives other dudes issues is just his inactivity. You know, his style is perfect, bro. It's just, and he's actually like, I feel like he's stronger than Caleb. You know, he's a little more dangerous in the pocket, you know, but than Caleb. But um obviously Caleb, I think, did the best, obviously, against or I'm actually wrong. Um Vosdek did the best against fucking Benavides. But that's because he moved up though. But you know, like Boo Boo, if he was younger, then probably, bro, like he would have gone the distance with him. It's just he's been out the ring for way too long, and I see openings just like what I just seen right there. It's just Benavides is too much of a workhorse, and his youth, you know, his youth is playing a huge favor, you know, a huge part. Like it's benefiting him, you know. So, um, Morel is his, you know, around the same age. It's just I'm not sure if I'm not sure if he's gonna work hard. Like he's not consistent enough,
I'm
you
gonna
know.
be honest with you, bro. Look, man, David Morrell, he's slow. He's powerful. He's big and strong, but he's got not only is he slow, he only has 11 fights.
Right.
And he doesn't have a great resume, right? David Benavidez has like triple the fights, bro. And
Hmm.
he's got Caleb Plant, Demetrius Andrade, he's got Alexander Volstik. For better or worse, David has a very diverse resume. He's fought in black fighters. I thought also that Andrade was going to give David Benavidez a very good fight because not only is Andrade slick, I was a little worried about his size because this is his third weight class from 154 to 160 to 168. But I was worried about his size. Size was a big factor. But I knew Andrade could defend himself because I've seen him fight big ass dudes like Willie Nelson, and he can chop down the tree, so to speak, against very tall fighters. And he's very fast when he lets his hands go, and you're up against the ropes. And then Andrade, the only thing that I didn't like about Andrade is that he fights like, I don't know, bro, like a very spider like tarantula dangling ass, long ass arms to his legs, almost touching his toes, type of thing. And then he lunges, kind of like Emmanuel Navarrete, but very slick. And I'm like, you can't do that, bro. You can't do that. You might be able to do that when you're big and faster or equal to these other guys at 154, at 160, you know. But when you fight guys that are more or less fundamentally sound, that keep it nice and tight defensively and are there always with planted feet, right? Or flat-footed, you're gonna get caught. And that's exactly what happened. When he got caught in this punch right here in the fifth round, fourth round, let me see. Look, guys, I like to show video representation and footage, but YouTube strikes me down the next following day. Did it with Katie Taylor. So I gotta keep it very to a minimum. But hold on. I'm gonna still do it because fuck all that. So in this particular moment, watch this. if they slow this down, right? Overall, this is pretty good defense from Demetrius Andrade. The biggest problem is sometimes, guys, traditional defense, both hands to your face, blocking punches is better than trying to shoulder roll certain things. You get what I'm saying? So right here, he has a shoulder roll, right? And look at that punch. Look at that angle. Somehow, some way, David is able to find that angle and crack him. It's not very easy. It's not easy to do, right? Boom. And he finds it. And that's not even David Benavidez' best punch. You get what I'm saying? That's not even like chopping down overhand over the top. It's almost like a side angle baseball uppercut punch. You know what I mean? And he's still able to penetrate it, makes Demetrius Andrade cross-eyed and drops him. So anyway, a lot of people be like, oh man, those are just flat-footed Mexicans. Well, sometimes all you need is 2 hands up, chin tucked down, and blocking is better than some Pernell Whitaker shit. You get what I'm saying? Not all the time, of course. You want to be elusive when, you know, you need to be, depending on the situation, up against the ropes and, you know. But what I'm trying to say is, more often than not, hands up, chin tucked down is better than retreating like an amateur, right? Circling around like Billy Joe Saunders and things of that nature. I'm not going to lie to you. The beginning couple of rounds, I was very impressed with Demetrius Andrade. He did a great job grappling, smothering David Benavidez, twisting and turning him. Like if you watch the couple early rounds, you guys can do this on your own. I don't want to get strike down and shit like that. But Andrade was doing very well. And then little by little, like you were saying, Drew, David starts to overwhelm him with a couple of punches, having a little more success. If this fight kept going, right, and if David Benavidez did not land that punch and Andrade was able to twist and turn David and have him confused, I thought overall Andrade would have more success than Caleb Plant. Because if I remember the fight versus Caleb Plant fucking sucked, bro. Yes, he was winning the early rounds, but they were like he weren't really winning because he really wasn't landing hellacious punches. He
didn't mind.
He was like Paulie Malignaggi winning rounds, like Peter Panning a jab and just like not getting caught. And to be fair, David wasn't really throwing a lot. And then after the round, I mean, dude, one dude is getting ragdolled. Like how Caleb Plant was winning, he's barely outboxing, barely outpointing, doing no damage to David Benavidez.
He was doing like
he was unscathed. It was not one blemish.
He was trying to do like a shortcut, bro, like by pity padding and not actually punishing his opponent, you know. And I think Boo Boo came in there honest, you know. He was trying to actually punish Benavidez and actually trying to find a way to like find like a hole in his game, you know. But he was too slow, man. Like you can have this out. Your opponent can have this output, and you can still win a round. Like it's called awareness. You know, and seeing the shots.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?
Huh? Like Benavidez can have this crazy output, and there's still a way you can win the round. You know, like I think Boo Boo was trying to figure that out, trying to figure out how to defend, like how to win the round.
Win a round without throwing a punch.
No, but why? By actually. But he wasn't aware enough. He was trying to find like a hole in this dude's game, you know, like he was actually going to the body. He was trying to, you know, he wasn't just head hunting, you know, and he was actually trying to punish him.
I think it's this moment. Hold on, let me show you guys something.
Because he thinks he got popped.
Full screen. All right.
We talked about it with Matthias and Ergashev. You have to accept
Hold on, that's not what I'm trying to show. Hold on. I just gotta like pause certain things and just trying to find it. Hold on.
Good work. You have to know that these early rounds may well be very good for Andrade.
You see how Andrade was able to do moves like that to Benavidez? From and like almost play Matador and just kind of like manipulate his head and twist and turn. That's a very good formula that Andrade and only a certain level of fighters have that temperament and IQ to do. Now, some refs aren't going to allow it, and they're going to shut that shit down. But you didn't see Caleb Plant try to do that. After 4 rounds, bro, it was like 8-0. Like, even the couple early rounds, I know people were giving the fight to Caleb Plant, but I was like, bro, Caleb Plant is winning these rounds scared. Like, he's doing no damage. Like, it's like the things that he's trying to win these rounds, it's like if you're trying to punch people with a feather. No damage. No damage. And that's why when he felt the heat turn up and David started throwing a lot of punches, he was holding on to dear life. All of those points that they were deducting from carrying Chuck Chin when he fought, Jerron Boots Ennis, they should have deducted like fucking 4 or 5 points to Caleb Plant. That dude was almost down on his knees, sodomizing David Benavidez, bro. You know what I mean? And a lot of people be like, well, Canelo was able to knock David Plant out and David couldn't. Well, did Caleb Plant also fucking hug Canelo 70 times? Fuck no. He came to win. Like Demetrius Andre came to win, right? Keeping distance, twisting and turning David. And guess
He
what?
was actually going for the head. He was headhunting a little bit and trying to see if he can hurt him a little bit as
Absolutely, which left a little bit of openings.
Yeah.
And then Andre got caught. Caleb wasn't leaving those openings because he didn't want to give David Benavidez the satisfaction of getting KO'd. Same thing with Alexander Volstik. All he did was kind of like Lomachenko Teofimo. He did not want to open up to get knocked out. Early in the first, second, third round, David Benavidez threw like a left hook, wobbled Alexander Volstik, and Volstik was like, okay, let me just block for like 7, 8 rounds, let David punch himself out, and then I'm going to come out strong late. If you really watch I think Alexander Volstik had 4 fights after he retired last year in 2023. If you watch a lot of the fights, and I think he also fought on Canelo's undercard, well, almost on all of Canelo's undercards, because that's one of his main sparring partners. But if you look at Alexander's fight when Canelo fought in Mexico versus not Callum Smith, but John Ryder, Volstik there was this fight that only lasted 4 or 5 rounds. And Alexander Volstik, all he did was block. And then eventually, like, he was just going through the motions, and you're like, damn, bro, let your fucking hands go. You're much bigger and stronger than this dude. And then eventually, he started teeing off this dude. Boom, boom, boom. Just touching, opening. And then he would hit harder shot. And then just touch. And just, he knew, like, it's like when a pro is sparring like an amateur, right? And the pro fighter is not even, he's just letting the amateur wail on him, and he's blocking and just having fun. And, you're like, bro, you can't mess with me. That's what Alexander Volstik was doing in almost all of his fights in 2023. And then against David Benavidez, he didn't really want to open up after like 7 rounds. But I'm like, bro, you just gave this dude, you spotted him 7 or 8 other rounds. Had you just let your hands go, you might just fucking drop. I mean, if you look at that last fight, right, David Benavidez's last fight, I think he had a cut. He looked like Volstik was piecing him apart a little bit. And Volstik didn't really have a blemish, right? And that's the beauty of blocking. The beauty of blocking. The beauty of having strong arms, forearms, and not allowing another fighter to penetrate through your guard. That's the beauty of just the simplicity of just dukes up, chin down. Anyway.
Yeah, and I feel like Boo Boo has a stronger base foundation, but Plant is more on the move. He's built to pretty much use the ring, so I think Boo Boo is just like, he tries to use it like the technical part of boxing and not try to like he really tries to like use that play mental game with him, with his opponent, and tries to really see how hurt you are, or like your tolerance, your pain tolerance. See how much punishment you can take it if you can take this power. And you see him going for the head and trying to like see if he can actually hurt him, because maybe he's seen something. Maybe he feels like he felt like he can actually hurt him. So I see what you're saying with that. It's just Caleb made it happen. It was trying to actually play the actual sport of boxing and trying to win on like some amateur shit, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure. It's like that's what Caleb Plant was trying to do. And it was like, nah, bro, this same mindset and attitude that you had towards Canelo, pushing him, trying to slap him, calling him a bitch, this and that. Like, where was that versus David Benavidez? Like you were trying to win slick and pretty, and you didn't come here to fight. You didn't come here to win. You came here to survive. Same thing with Alexander Vostik. You guys just came to survive. Demetrius Andrade, he actually tried to win based off body language. You know, unfortunately, it made it for a short night because he got caught with a punch that overall, like I said, was very good defense overall. You know, it could have been much better. Somehow that punch fucking was able to get that angle, you know, and that's what happens, man. You know what I mean? So it's very interesting to see. I preface all this 30 minutes after the fact to say that David Morrel has failed. And I'm not saying that he can't do it. I'm just saying in all of this, his pro career, these 11 fights, he doesn't show me the craftiness that Demetrius Andrade has shown, right? But he relies on his power. He believes in his power, and that's why he might not have to resort to those things. So we might see this elements of surprise that David Morrell might bring that David Benavidez hasn't seen in a cool minute. Is if you really look at David Benavidez's resume, he hasn't really fought a young fighter, right? That's bigger than him, and it's all that can also punch, right? Like Volsdik, he can punch, he can crack. He put Adonis Stevenson in a coma, right? He can knock out people, but he's much older, 35 or 36, which is not, you know, like, oh my God, he's out of his prime type of thing. He's only lost one fight, and that was to Beterbiev. But let me read a couple of the comments before I go to the next point. The Mexican G, Vince Vargas, man, happy Turkey Day to you guys, fellas, man. Hopefully you guys ate some good food, had your beautiful families, and you guys were able to really enjoy and just kind of soak in the holiday spirit, you know. The Mexican G goes, que over mi gente. I thought Andrade was going to beat Benavidez. I thought Andrade was too slick, and Benavidez doesn't have good footwork. I thought that Andrade was going to be able to stick and move. Plant won like 4 rounds. Then Benavidez fucking bulldozed him. Plant was holding on for dear life. Benavidez was beating him like he stole his Doritos. Benavidez dominated his last fight. I didn't understand the criticism. Warp Speed, salute to you. At Vince Vargas, at the Mexican G, at Dream123, at the homie Ricky, at David Benavidez. Could even fall, gents. David got cut in sparring. It did not happen in the ring. And Andrade caught David with some good shots. Yeah, man, Andrade was digging to the body, going high, going low. He had a very good game plan. Had it gone past 7-8 rounds, I thought we were going to be in for a very good treat. But I knew Andrade's power and size wasn't really going to carry late because in his last fight, I think he fought Damon Nicholson. He struggled really bad, and I think he got dropped by a body shot. I don't really recall. Fuck, might have gone tangled, but there was a punch, and I was like, damn, Andrade, you know, maybe 168 isn't really your thing. But be that as it may, I thought he had a really good, interesting game plan, a game plan that he tried to implement, and what he did to Willie Nelson or Willie Monroe, a 160-pounder that was like 6'6", and he did a great job, and unfortunately he just got caught badly by David Benavidez. But going back to David Morrell, overall, I feel confident that David Benavidez should knock out a fighter with only 11 fights. You see, David Morrell looks to be the goods, right? He looks to be dangerous. We know his power. But look, we know he has heavy hands. We know that he's strong. We know that he's big in size. But I don't know how good his IQ is, right? I don't really know how great his chin is. The people that he's been fighting, they're not big punchers. The people that he's been fighting aren't, I don't even think any of them are ex-champions or have been. So that's what happens. Everything is catering to David. On paper, this looks like a 60-40, 50-50 fight, right? But when you really look down and break down the important shit, David Morrell has so much to prove, and we don't have a big sample size to really call him that guy. But it's very refreshing to see guys like David Benavidez implement the things that Canelo Alvarez was doing in his career by fighting guys like Dimitri Bivol, Erislandy Lara, Austin Trout, and fight these high-risk, low-reward type fights. because there isn't many people that are calling out David Benavidez. Berlanga ain't calling him out. Christian and Billy and all of these guys, Jaime Munguia, Zurdo, they're not calling out David Benavidez. But there's only one guy that has, and that's David Morrel. And Benavidez is not playing this like, oh man, I'm much more popular than you. I've been selling out events. He's not playing all the political A side, B side shit. He just, all right, dude, this fucking fight. This fight gets me excited. Let's throw it down. It's refreshing to see. But like again, when I was speaking a little bit by myself, we fans, if he runs into some trouble or it goes to the decision and maybe Morrel won, then I think the fans would win. You know, when Teofimo challenges himself to fight guys like Jermaine Ortiz and Sandor Martin, right? And he doesn't look his best because those are very challenging, crafty styles. As you saw with Mikey Garcia and Lomachenko, they struggle with guys like that. You don't think Shakur Stevenson would struggle with a Jermaine Ortiz or a Sandor Martin? You don't think Devin Haney would struggle with Sandor Martin or Jermaine Ortiz? They will all struggle. Tank Davis would struggle with those fucking guys. That's why Tank Davis doesn't fight those guys. That's why Devin Haney hasn't fought those guys. That's why Shakur Stevenson hasn't fought a Sandor Martin or a Jermaine Ortiz, but Teofimo Lopez has. And that's what I'm trying to tell you guys, the difference between real fucking fighters and fake ass careers. I think David Morrel, on paper so far, has a fake ass career. It's very misleading. Now, we're going to find out on his real true test against David Benavidez how good David Morrel really is. Because I'm not going to tell you guys here that the Mexican Monster is this Hall of Fame legendary fighter. But as of right now, he's challenged himself after the Ronald Gavro situation, you know, that he could get beat, he could get dropped. Yo, Speed, if you want to hop on and talk shop with Drew, I do got to wrap it up a little bit. I only tended to go, you know, for a little bit, but, you know, I got to wrap it up, man. At least on my end, I might listen to it and hop on it. But if you guys want to talk shop, you got the link. Dream, you want to carry it over?
Miss Speed gonna hop on right now or what?
I'm not exactly too sure, you know. But yeah, man.
Because honestly, when you left last time, I was just spewing on this subject for like 20 minutes, or like.
Oh, you had already mentioned and talked about this?
Yeah, when you left me last time, and you came back with Speed, I literally was talking about this.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna hop back on. I just
Okay.
gotta close some of these documents and computers, and then I'm gonna try to hop on my phone. So just, you know, keep talking, and I'll try to transfer all the information over to my phone.
All right.
All right, brother.
All right, man. So yeah, let me check. Oh shit. What I do? Okay, yeah, let me check. Who else is fighting on that card? You know, because I went on the whole spiel on yesterday's subject about this shit, and yeah, man, I feel like like he said, Benavidez. I agree. Everything Rick just said, I agree. You know, I'm not calling his career out this dude ever since he's been a pro. So the and I don't have control of the
Hey, fuck it, guys. I'll try to log in back when I get off work, headed home. I'll hop on in a bit.